students, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about the syllabus of paper 1. So this is our topic. We are going to talk about the syllabus of paper 1 that is there in UGC NET. So as we have already seen, there are two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is the general paper that we have. It is going to test your aptitude and your comprehensive skills, while your paper 2 is the paper that you have already studied in your BA and your MA, that we can call as a core paper that we have. Let us see the broad structure or the exam pattern that we have. So paper 1, this paper contains the questions that are very generic in nature, and they are intended to actually see your research aptitude and your teaching aptitude. This means that the child needs to be quick in answering these things. Comprehensive questions are there. They are going to check your reasoning capabilities and the way in which a teacher actually teaches a child. That is why this subject teaching aptitude, this unit 1 teaching aptitude becomes important. There are 10 units, 50 questions are there, and marks are 100. Again, there is paper 2. This is based on the subject that the candidate has already selected, and you are going to be judged on the basis of the knowledge that you have on the domain subject that is chosen. So 100 questions are there, 2 marks each. Of course, it comes out to be 200. So the total is 150 questions, 300 marks. Total 3 hours would be given to you, that is 180 minutes. Let us talk about the detailed syllabus now. So as I told you, there are 10 units there in paper 1. We are going to discuss the overview of these 10 units, and then in the classes, of course, we'll study in greater detail. There are other things that are there inside this. We will be discussing them one by one. Let us see. So first of all, the first unit that we have is the teaching aptitude. Teaching aptitude, we are going to talk about the concept of teaching in a broader sense in this unit. We discuss about the various objectives of teaching, the levels of teaching. What are the levels of teaching? We have 3 very important levels of teaching. We have the memory level, understanding level, and the reflective level. Who talked about these levels? What are the syntax that are included in these levels? These are the questions that are now being asked in the paper as the exam is becoming more and more comprehensive. We'll discuss about the characteristics and the basic requirements that are needed that the teacher should have. For example, we'll be discussing about the key behaviors and the helping behaviors that are very imperative for a teacher to have so that she can carry forward the work or whatever she is teaching in the class in the most smooth manner. Then we'll be discussing about learners' characteristics and the types of learners. What is an adolescent learner? What is a young learner? What do you mean by an adolescent learner? These are the things that are important. And what are the characteristics? What is a field-dependent learner? Field-independent learner. These are the things that are very important. Then comes the methods of teaching. Is it an online method? Offline method? What kind of instructional facilities are we using? What do you mean by the teacher support system? And how can you evaluate the child? So what are the different kinds of evaluation? Is it summative? Is it diagnostic? Is it formative? Is it placement test? What kind of test we are using? These are the things that are asked in this paper. Then we come to the second unit, that is the research aptitude. So research aptitude is a unit that is very important because teaching and research, these 2 units are also dealt in the other teaching exams. Research is one unit from which you get a lot of questions in your PhD entrances also. So we'll talk about the different types of research and different methods of research. Experimental, descriptive, historical, qualitative, quantitative. We'll be focusing on the steps of research. One topic that they always discuss in the paper, that they always ask questions from. We'll be discussing about hypothesis, the error. A lot of questions are asked from this now. We'll be talking about the article writing, thesis, the format, style, references. We'll be talking about citations, bibliography, etc. Then about the application of ICT, right, in the research, and we'll be talking about research ethics. These are the broad areas that we'll be discussing. Then the unit number 3 is very scoring. We will be given one passage and questions are going to be asked from that. And of course, the more, focus you are in reading the passage, easily you will be able to answer the questions. Then comes communication. Now this unit is very scoring. We'll be dealing with the types of communication, the meaning, the characteristics, effectiveness of communication, and how we see that the classroom communication is so important. How it is very important for us to do away with all the entrophies and go forward so that the class is very smooth. We'll be talking about the barriers. Very important barrier. We will be discussing about the psychological, semantic. We'll be discussing about the physiological barriers. They are always asked in the paper. And then we'll be discussing about mass media and society. One topic that they always ask questions from, right? It's a very hot topic. Not only this, they ask questions from this in greater detail. They'll ask you about the theories related to mass media. They'll ask you about hot media, cold media. In fact, this time also they ask questions from Marshall McLuhan. So being a literature student, you tend to know about these things. But in paper 1 also they ask questions from Marshall McLuhan. So we will go in greater detail and talk about some of the theorists also. Then we have the unit number 5. Here we have questions related to maths and reasoning. So we'll have questions related to time and distance, ratio, proportion, percentages, profit and loss, then of course interest and discount, averages, etc. This is a unit that is again important. Then comes logical reasoning. From logical reasoning, we have the very important topic, Venn diagram and the Indian logical. Questions are being asked, what do you mean by knowledge? What do you mean by pramana? What do you mean by anuman? What do you mean by arthapati? These are the questions, and of course they ask detailed questions from this. Understanding the structure of arguments, syllogisms, these are the questions that are also asked. Then the structure and the kinds of anumana, right? And hetvabhas is also an important topic. Then comes data interpretation. Now this topic is again very scoring. You have one data interpretation question, and of course questions are asked from that data that is provided to you. From that data you see that there are some of the classifications that are seen. Then you have some of the various different kinds of data that can be given. You can be given pie charts, or some of the time you can be given histograms. Nowadays, basically, normal data is given to you and questions are asked from that. Now they can use interdisciplinary questions and they can ask you questions, and of course, as I told you, the level is also increasing. So this topic can be a little difficult because the data that is provided to you can use other mathematical operations like profit and loss, interest. These are the things that they can target here. So your maths should be good when it comes to this topic or this unit. But if you practice one DI daily, then of course it is manageable. Then comes your ICT, that is Information and Communication Technology. So in this unit, we'll be studying about the basic abbreviations that are there related to your computers. Then we'll be discussing about the basics of internet, intranet, emails, audio, video conferencing, etc. We'll be discussing about the digital initiatives that are there. And of course, we'll be talking how ICT and governance are interrelated with one another. Then comes environment. One unit for which you have to read your newspapers, because definitely current affairs are also asked from this unit. We'll be talking about the dependence of the humans on environment, the development and the environment, and how the anthropogenic activities are causing so many problems to the environment. So human and environment and their interdependence and interaction with one another. Then we'll be talking about the environmental hazards, environmental issues. We'll be talking about the natural and energy resources like the solar, wind, soil, hydro, geothermal, biomass, nuclear, etc. All of these things will be going in greater detail. We'll be looking at the latest trends. We'll be looking at the various initiatives that the government has taken to talk or to save the environment. Then we'll be talking about natural hazards and disasters, mitigation, how you can protect the environment, and then very important, we'll be talking about the protocols. SDGs and MDGs, these are the two initiatives that are very important. Every year you see questions being asked from them. Then you have unit number 10, that is the most important unit also, because higher education is what we have to study. And here you have questions related to the various kinds of learning institutes that we have. What are the conventional and the non-conventional ways of learning? What are the various programs? Not only this, we dig in we go even further and we talk about the basic skills that are needed in education. We talk about the professional and the technical education, the skill-based education. What are the various institutes that are there in the higher education? How we see that the higher education is now changing. Also, we talked about, in this unit, we will also talk about the pre-independence education structure, and after independence, what will happen? What are the committees that are there? How are the institutes being opened? What are the various types of universities? These are the things that are asked. We will also focus on value education, and we will study the policies related to governance and administration. So these are the few things that become very important from the examination point of view. This is the broad overview of your paper 1 that you have. These are the 10 units that we have. Let us see the 10 units quickly. So we started by discussing teaching aptitude, theories and theories of Erikson, theories of Piaget. These are the things that are asked in the paper now. So teaching aptitude is the first. The second is the research aptitude, then comprehension, then communication, then we have mathematical reasoning and aptitude. After that, we have logical reasoning. Then we have data interpretation. Then we have ICT, information and communication technology. After that, we have people, development and environment. And then we have higher education, right? So these are the 10 units and you have to study them in detail. And if you study them properly, then only you will be able to crack the exam. So I hope you understood this video and you understood the various units and how you can divide the syllabus into these 10 units and how you have to study and what all are the things that you have to focus on, right? So if you have any doubt, you can of course ask this. You can comment down below. We will reply. Thank you so much.